Everyone loves a deleted scene, don't they? They're the forbidden fruit of the film world, dual-wielding both exciting snippets that could change a whole movie's structure should they be brought to light, and absolute nonsense which justifies itself as never being put officially to screen. And of course, they never get more interesting than in the horror genre, where censors are infamously snip-happy to all manner of juicy scenes no matter their quality. Here, the more delicately realised versions of directors' visions often end up littering the floor of some editor's suite, with excellent story beats and incredible scares lost to time in the process. Worst of all, lots are never recovered again, with just whispers on the wind of what could have been all that remains of their existence. So then, viewers who just want a taste of these golden apples are left instead with lists like this, providing a rundown of what could have been should fate have played out differently. Let's take a look then, shall we? I am the uncut Ash from What Culture Horror, and these are 10 horror movie deleted scenes we desperately need to see. 10. My Bloody Valentine, The Lost Lovers. While many of its once censored scenes have been recovered in the decades since, the original My Bloody Valentine director, George Mihalka, lamented that an ambitious sequence which saw a pair of lovers skewered together by a mining drill is gone for good. Without any footage surviving, Mihalka has gone on to explain just what horror fans are missing from this excised scene, and I quote, "There was a scene with the two kids in the mine and they are joined together forever. They're just necking and Tom's lying on top of Harriet and the miner comes in and puts the drill through him. She's got her eyes closed and thinks he's just been a little frisky. She opens her mouth and her eyes just widen as he bleeds into her mouth. Then the miner goes whoomph and stabs straight through them both. That scene had to be taken out totally. It has disappeared and we'll never see it." Gross, horrible, and perfectly fitting for My Bloody Valentine then. Perhaps movie magic might just recreate it one day. 9. Psycho, a more explicit cut. Probably the most iconic movie on this list, Psycho provided the blueprint for slasher cinema before the subgenre was even invented, and is one of precious few horror films to receive critical adulation and an undisputed place in the canon in the decade since its 1960 release. However, whilst the movie's enduring influence is undeniable, it's important to note that the film did earn the ire of censors upon release for showing, shock horror, a toilet on screen in one scene. Fellow slasher influencer Peeping Tom came into trouble with censors too, and as a result, some reports maintain that Hitchcock's masterpiece was cut down to avoid angering the moral guardians in the same way. Legend has it there's a missing cut of the movie which features a far gorier stabbing scene for Arbogast, the detective searching for our doomed faux protagonist Marion Crane, as well as a scene where Norman hides his body, and even an extended, more explicit version of the infamous shower scene. 8. Ghostbusters 2, Demon Frogs, plus Eugene Levy. Ghostbusters 2 was released a full 5 years after the original was a smash hit in 1984, and expectations were incredibly high for the horror comedy follow-up. Of course, the sequel ended up being infamously disappointing to fans at the time, and this was the first and last time the Ghostbusters fandom were let down by a new movie. That's the way we tell it now. But it could have been a lot more fun if director Ivan Reitman had decided to keep in the sequence where a pair of unsuspecting subway workers come across another pair of massive frog-like demonic entities screwing with the tracks. The terrific monster designs are unfortunately lost to history now, save for some blurry screen grabs, as the studio didn't care for the workers' comical reaction in the scene. And that's not to mention Eugene Levy's brief deleted cameo as Rick Moranis' equally nebbish cousin Sherman, who helps the Ghostbusters get out of the asylum in time for the film's climax, only to be left behind by the quartet as thanks for his efforts. Classic. 7. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Freddy lends Kristen a hand. The fourth installment of the Dream Demon saga is heralded by many slasher fans as the beginning of the end for the once beloved series. This is where the tone grows gradually more comedic and outlandish, with this film's light-hearted approach changing the course for future installments. But you would never know that from the terrifying lost sequence wherein Kristen runs from Freddy, dreaming she's in his hallway and his razor-taloned hand is repeatedly bursting forth through the wall beside her, before waking up via a cigarette burn. It is a chilling scene many horror viewers wish they could have seen. And just to solidify how close this movie came to being a far better classic, it should be noted that another moment cut from this one for music copyright saw Freddy imitating the stars of TV's Miami Vice through a pair of Sonys. 6. Friday the 13th Part 3, Alternate Ending. To be fair, a little bit of footage from this one did survive, but that is about as much as viewers are likely to ever see, lest some heroic editor crops up some time in the coming decades. Friday the 13th Part 3 is the third entry, of course, into Jason Voorhees' iconic slasher franchise. And it is infamously the film which solidified the villain as the masked, machete-wielding monster that viewers now know and love after that whole bag-wearing thing in the second one. But the film almost had a demented dream sequence ending which saw final girl Chris lounging in a canoe on the same lake as the first film's Alice, then returning to the cottage to be reunited with her friend, only for old Jason, unmasked and angry, to leap out and lop her head off halfway there. Of course though, the studio insisted on something less dark and surreal, as always. 5. The Shining, original ending. Famously adored by critics and hated by writer Stephen King, Stanley Kubrick's take on The Shining is a blackly comic enigma which remains a subject of myriad interpretations by academics, film fans, and conspiracy theorists alike. However, the alternate ending created by Kubrick and never screened publicly would have left things a little clearer for viewers, though no less creepy. The original ending would not have frozen, on Jack's remains, but instead have included a brief interlude which saw implied survivors Danny and Wendy recuperating in hospital, and getting a visit from hotel operator Ullman. So the viewers know they're okay. Very sweet and heartwarming, and out of character for Kubrick. At least it would have been, if Ullman didn't then toss the tennis ball that rolled out of the haunted hotel's creepiest room over to Danny as he left. 4. Event Horizon, original cut. Perhaps the most infamous entry on this list, this one is also mercifully the lone one that viewers may actually someday get to see. Let's not jinx it yet though. For years, many minutes of the original uncensored footage of 1997's dark sci-fi horror Event Horizon were thought to be permanently lost, with Paul W.S. Anderson claiming that he doesn't know what became of the reels after the studio balked at their violent content. The missing scenes gave viewers an in-depth look at the film's hellish alternate dimension, a gory horror show which made Clive Barker's Hellraiser look prim and proper. Far too shocking for the studio's intended R rating, this half-hour of footage was cut into an unrecognisable few seconds of gory footage in the film proper. Cut to years later, and the missing footage appeared in a Transylvanian salt mine. Yes, really, though this copy was far too damaged to salvage, obviously. However, distributors Scream Factory are currently calling for anyone with access to the footage to help them restore the cut. So who knows what a Transylvanian salt miner might turn up. 3. Black Christmas 2006. The trailer scenes. You know that horrible realization as you sit in the cinema and realize that a new movie's promising trailer totally misrepresented the flick you're stuck paying to see? Of course you do, but even the most shameless editors rarely go as far as the filmmakers for proto-slasher Black Christmas did to disguise the dud. Shot behind the back of Glen Morgan, the trailer scenes from 2006's Black Christmas paint a picture of an even more corny and over-the-top slasher than audiences got, with zanier death scenes and a more ambitious, less mean-spirited tone. Problem is, all 3 death scenes, as well as a few badass fighting off the killer moments, were shot solely for the trailer, with Morgan not even involved. On second thought, they can keep this one. 2. Death Becomes Her. Happy alternate ending. The late 80s saw Robert Zemeckis at the height of his powers, using his newfound success to mount a massively successful HBO adaptation of the infamously grisly, frequently censored Tales from the Crypt. This campy, gory series attracted big-name guest stars both in front of and behind the camera, and eventually resulted in a blackly comic horror film in the form of Death Becomes Her. A tale of 2 image-obsessed anti-heroes who go to groaningly grotesque extremes to maintain their youth, the film flopped at the box office upon release, but has since been re-evaluated as a cult classic. What no one has been able to re-evaluate, however, is the film's tragically lost original ending. This alternate ending to Zemeckis' darkly comic fantasy horror bizarrely featured Bruce Willis's nebbish love interest abandoning both villainous protagonists, and ending up happily married to a previously unseen bartender. Unfortunately, test audiences wanted a meaner ending for once, and so viewers lost the closure they could have had. 1. Cannibal Holocaust. The Piranha Attack. The most famous and infamous film in Italian horror director Ruggero Deodato's long CV, the cannibal horror mockumentary Cannibal Holocaust saw the director pioneer the found footage format with the grisly tale of amoral filmmakers whose misadventures in the Amazon end in gruesome vengeance when they cross the wrong tribe. It's a grim and gritty flick, though one deleted scene almost made it comical too. Intended to be a gory set piece, the film's attempt at a staged piranha attack saw the filmmakers drop a meat-filled model of a human into a school of piranha and let them do their thing. Only, the unfortunately lost footage tragically reveals that piranhas doing their thing in reality consists of a few stray bites, a largely disinterested school of placid fish, and a pretty much intact dummy. The dummy being the model human, that is, not the filmmakers. And that's our list. What other legendary deleted horror scenes do you want to see? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Ash over on social media at Ash Millman, and this has been What Culture. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back again soon for some more spine-tingling horror content. Thanks for watching.